Your Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Ambassador Nobuhito Hobo, Ambassador of Japan in Sri Lanka, Mr. Sumit Abesinghe, Secretary to the Cabinet, and a former Secretary to the Treasury himself, Mr. Amarasekar, Secretary to the Prime Minister, Dr. Jayasundera, Secretary to the Treasury and Secretary Ministry of Finance and Planning, past distinguished secretaries of the Ministry of Finance and Secretaries to the Treasury, dear friends and colleagues, I feel more than privileged to be asked to address this august gathering on a momentous occasion. The occasion being the opening of the Academy of Financial Studies, and with it, the launch of a very useful publication, A Nation's Journey, Sri Lanka's Transformation to a Middle-Income Economy. That both these landmark activities are done under the leadership of His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, the President of Sri Lanka, make these two events truly unique and memorable. Your Excellency, you have been this country's Minister of Finance since November 2005, a long tenure during which you have guided this country's destinies to make it a middle-income country. Undoubtedly, your leadership to defeat terrorism and bring peace to this country is a prime reason that enabled our nation that was battered by the scourge of terrorism for nearly 3 decades. Permit me, Excellency, to quote from the book Gota's War by C.A. Chandra Prema. I quote, "Sri Lanka is the only country in the world that has triumphed against terrorism in recent times and has become an inspiration for many countries beset by intractable political violence. Why Gotabaya succeeded while everybody else failed is because, unlike all the others, he had the fullest backing of his brother, President Mahinda Rajapaksa. No other president would have taken the decision to go for a head-on confrontation with the LTTE, which was considered by many Western powers to be undefeatable. No other president would have taken the political risk of prosecuting a war considered to be unwinnable, even by dominant sections of the local political establishment. No other president would have stayed the course so resolutely, despite setbacks on the military front and tremendous pressure coming from overseas. Well, I must also add, without Mahinda, there would have been no decision to wage war. Without Gotabaya, no victory. The nation salutes Your Excellency for standing up to pressures that no other leader of our country ever endured, and without that emphatic victory over terrorism, there would not have been an occasion such as this for us to rejoice. If I may say a few words on the importance of opening an Academy of Financial Studies, this has been a long-felt need in the capacity building of the public sector. With the knowledge domain becoming more and more advanced, it is imperative that those who serve in the Ministry of Finance and the General Treasury are continuously upgraded to undertake the gigantic task of keeping abreast with the developments that take place in the international scene and contribute to make the lives of people better. It is my firm belief that the architect of Miloda, the indefatigable Secretary to the Treasury, and my dear friend Dr. P.B. Jayasundera will guide this new institute to great heights to make it internationally known as a center of excellence in financial studies, and congratulations. The other event, the launch of the seminal publications, Nation's Journey, Sri Lanka's Transformation to a Middle-Income Economy, is most certainly highly laudable. For this publication encapsulates the milestones of our journey as a nation, particularly in the last 65 years in the post-independence era. A student of history would find it the ideal reference to find a heap of interesting facts pertaining to public administration in our motherland. It is the quintessence of a compendium of events of governments and will be an ideal reference to all of us in the public sector. This much awaited reference has in its contents logically divided portions that describes the important events in each era of our post-independence history. A short but quite informative, a glimpse into the pre-independence era takes you to the essentials of that period. That's how the book starts. One cannot expect a very detailed description as one would find in our chronicles, such as Mahavansa, but emphasis has been laid on finance and economy, particularly for this particular period that I was talking about. The era since 1948 up to 1955 is the next section that gives you many historical facts, such as who the governor generals were, prime ministers, who were also the heads of government at that time, ministers of finance, secretaries to the treasury, etc., etc. The compilation of the list of acts passed by the legislature is also a very interesting feature that I find in this book. Every section that follows has similar relevant information pertaining to that particular era. The next section, the era of 1956 to 1976, a period of 20 years, labeled as emphasis on self-reliance, provides the reader with an impressive array of information that will without doubt help any student of political science, history, public administration, and of course public finance. For anyone who requires authentic references as to how our journey was shaped, this is of course invaluable. The section that describes the events from 1977 to 2005, the era towards an open economy, provides the reader with much information on how the economy of our motherland took a different path. It is in this period of our history that terrorism and separatism raised its ugly head, threatening the very existence of our nation. The setbacks we have had are too numerous to mention. Your Excellency, the story from November 2005 to date naturally provides details that would interest many a reader. This is the era during which we exceeded all expectations. I would like to quote from page 199 to be exact of the publication that we are about to launch, and I quote, "Over and above other achievements, President Rajapaksa will always be remembered by Sri Lankans as the only political leader who was successful in liberating the country from the grips of LTTE terror that prevailed for over 30 years." Unquote. In a very short introduction to this well-compiled book, one cannot do justice to the hard work of the compilers, and I regret that. Let me therefore once more quote from the book that I think in a few words portray the massive development efforts of this era, that is the era of President Rajapaksa's governments. And I quote, "Following the end of the conflict in mid-2009, President Rajapaksa accelerated development efforts as never before seen in the history of Sri Lanka, covering all sectors of the economy. The massive infrastructure development projects that are being implemented throughout the country is a result of increased public investment expenditure channeled towards value creation to alleviate poverty, create an enabling environment to facilitate enterprise development and promote private investments while attracting foreign investment to steer Sri Lanka towards becoming a middle-income country." Unquote. As should be the case, from page 201 onwards of this publication is a narrative of the Mahinda Chintana, vision for the future. From 2005 onwards, we were able to pass several milestones. Let me name some of them. Crossing the US dollars 2,000 per capita income in 2008, that is doubling the same from 1,000 US dollars in 2004, and on our way to the US dollar 3,000 mark very soon. Annual growth of over 8%, particularly in 2 consecutive years, in 2010 and 2011. Inflation brought down to 7%. Unemployment at a record low of 5%. Poverty reduced from 15.6 to 8.9%. IT literacy enhanced from under 4% in 2004 to over 40% in 2012. Budget deficit reduced to 6.8 from 10%, and debt to GDP reduced to 80% from 100%. These are only a few indicators highlighted in this publication, and I will invite the reader to savor the other interesting details. The last portion of this magnificent publication is dedicated to what the Ministry of Finance and Planning has done in the service of our nation. It aptly describes the role of the ministry, that of shaping the economy. The edifice which has housed successive ministries of finance of independent Ceylon and later Sri Lanka And of course, the Legislative Council and its successors had only cost 450,000 rupees, including extra expenses for lifts, etc., in 1930. It is from these officers, our economy over a period of 65 years of independence, Dr. P.B. Jayasundera, Secretary of the Treasury and Secretary of the Ministry of Finance and Planning, for both these activities, the opening of the Academy of Financial Studies, as well as the launch of this fantastic publication. I am privy to the hard work PB has put in with such meticulous care to bring out learning material of this nature and enrich our literature on public administration and finance. When I was given a manuscript to prepare for this address, and when I read through, I could see the hand of my dear friend PB at work, for I saw the lucid, precise, and yet descriptive analysis of events in our history. I salute you, PB, my friend, as a fellow public servant, for this enriching exercise you have undertaken. My praise and that of all of us should also go to all your colleagues in the Treasury who ventured to execute this unprecedented task with such finesse. In conclusion, I want to reminisce what His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa presented to the nation in November 2005 in the Mahinda Chintana towards a new Sri Lanka. And I'm going to quote, "Blending all your thoughts, develop man towards preserving the family. Develop family towards preserving the village. Develop village towards preserving the country, and develop country to win the world. These aspirations, Chintana of Mahinda, are placed before you. My dreams, an independent nation, a country of greenery, a prosperous tomorrow, and a virtuous man. Sinhalese, Tamils, Muslims, and Burghers, all children of Mother Lanka, with gleaming eyes, filled with expectations, you are gazing at us, that I know. Those expectations ought to be made a reality. The faith I have in me, no doubt, will help fulfill them. Adore challenges, Mother Lanka, towards a blissful future, we all shall step together." Having placed your thoughts, promises before the nation, Your Excellency, you ventured as the President and Minister of Finance and Planning on an unprecedented mission, fulfilling almost all your promises, particularly to usher in peace. Here is what you said to your fellow countrymen in January 2010, when you presented Mahinda Chintana, Vision for the Future. To win the world, develop the country. To develop the country, strengthen the village. To strengthen the village, protect the family. To protect the family, care for the person. I promised you a free nation. I promised you sustainable development. I assured you a better society. I assured you a land of plenty. I delivered. The children of Mother Lanka, Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim, Malay, Burgher, look to us with hope, to be their trustee, to be the one to realize their dreams. Now I present to you our vision for a brighter future. Together, we will make the journey with your trust, and I will deliver, unquote. Well, that is the story that I unfold before you, and I have this great privilege of being able to say a few words, launching this landmark book. Well, whilst thanking Your Excellency for your patience, and of course your leadership, and we have had the privilege of being part of your team for the last 8 years, may I once again thank Dr. Jayasundera for giving me this unique honor, an occasion that will linger in my mind for many more years to come. Thank you.